Okay, here's the rose I'm working on, and I had to put it in a hoop because of the fabric, which is too bad. I was doing it all by hand, and I do take the hoop off of there, but the area I'm working on, if it starts to buckle, I have to put it back into a hoop. But here's what I want to do next, and these are actually drawing models for drawing. This is cotton from last year. This is cotton from this year. This is Pima cotton, a Pima cotton leaf. And so I bought what is called it's a joining foot, but it's a stippling foot, basically. And I happen to be a pen and ink artist who specializes in stippling. So because I know the definition of stippling inside and out, up and down, I waited till now to go see what they call stippling in quilting, because I don't generally do a lot of free motion quilting or anything. Anyway, what they call stippling in quilting has nothing to do with stippling in artwork, and I just want to make that extremely clear. Stippling in artwork is often called pointillism, but it's a whole different method, really, from pointillism. It's not the same. And what they call stippling in quilting, supposedly, by definition, is wiggly lines that don't cross each other. And that's almost an opposite definition of stippling in artwork. So now I'm a little annoyed as an artist that, stippling in art goes all the way back to the masters. And I get annoyed when an industry comes along, like quilting, or fabric makers, or sewing machine makers, and they say, oh, here's a new way of making lines, let's call it stippling. Right now, I'm barely holding my temper. I mean, so hundreds of years, stippling has been one kind of thing, and all of a sudden, in sewing, they decide they're going to call it something else. They're just going to, it's got, one thing has nothing to do with the other. So, I was going to try my stippling technique in art on fabric, and now I'm stumped as because stippling in art has nothing to do with stippling that they call quilting. So I'm making this video because one, any kind of fancy free motion quilting and I may part ways right now, simply because it's just not a true term at all. And, I mean, you would think that when they came up with the term, they would have looked into the history of the word stippling. But anyway, the second thing is, for other artists that follow me, is this is now a challenge. How do I take the book that I'm in the middle of the process of writing is about a technique that I developed starting about 30 years ago to do with stippling and artwork. And to just have quilting stippling be so popular and so wrongly defined is amazing to me. So as artists, I'm going to have to change the way I'm doing videos about life is fragile, doing artwork on fabric, because if I go by quilting terms, I would not be stippling. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how they came up with the term and applied it to quilting. It's not even the same thing. So it's a heads up that, sometimes I'm unconventional. This time, I'm the one who has the art history and the art knowledge, and sewing machine manufacturers or whoever started the idea of stippling is wrong. And so I'm not sure where this is going to lead me. I may just go back to my pens and say, forget it. They do it wrong. So we'll see what happens. But I wanted to point out to people, I'm an artist who is trying to move my artwork more to fabric and natural products instead of pens and inks and paints and stuff. And this is a brick wall because artistic stippling has nothing to do with what they call stippling in quilting. So it's just a big heads up. One thing has nothing to do with the other.